Minnesota Vikings versus Detroit Lions. It's a pivotal NFC North clash in Detroit, and the stakes couldn't be sharper. The 5-2 Lions, unbeaten at home, host the 3-4 Vikings at Ford Field. A battle between a team chasing the division crown and another clinging to playoff hopes. Detroit's been roaring, sitting just behind Green Bay in the standings, while Minnesota's fighting to stay relevant after back-to-back losses. The odds tilt heavily toward the Lions, who carry a commanding 3-1 edge in win probability, and for good reason. They're healthier, deeper, and perfectly poised to defend their turf in front of a packed house. Detroit enters with balance and confidence. Jared Goff has thrown for 1,631 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 3 picks, one of the league's cleanest ledgers through 7 weeks. His chemistry with Amon-Ra St. Brown, 538 yards, 7 touchdowns, has fueled a passing game that thrives on timing and toughness. Rookie dynamo Jahmyr Gibbs adds electricity on the ground, rushing for 526 yards and 6 scores behind a line that's held strong even through injuries. On defense, linebacker Jack Campbell leads with 64 tackles, while Aiden Hutchinson's 6 sacks anchor one of the NFC's most disruptive fronts. Minnesota, meanwhile, has fought through adversity and attrition. Carson Wentz, now sidelined, left behind 1,216 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. The offense now leans on its skill core. Jalen Jefferson remains elite with 602 receiving yards, and running back Jordan Mason's 383 yards and 4 touchdowns give the Vikings some balance. But defensively, the numbers tell the strain. Only 3 sacks from Jay Redmond and 51 tackles from Eric Wilson highlight a group still searching for rhythm. The contrast is clear: Detroit's depth and discipline against Minnesota's resilience and risk. Momentum belongs squarely to Detroit. The Lions have won 4 of their last 5, capped by a 24-9 win over Tampa Bay and a 34-10 demolition of Cleveland. Their only stumble, a narrow 30-17 loss to Kansas City, did little to dent their confidence. They're averaging over 30 points per home game, and their defense has tightened in key moments. Minnesota, on the other hand, is reeling. After early wins over Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, they've dropped 2 straight, 28-22 to Philadelphia and 37-10 to the Chargers. The offense has sputtered, while the defense has struggled to finish drives. The Vikings' last 5 games show a team in transition. The Lions' last 5 show one finding its stride. This week's duel isn't about names, it's about command. Goff's 152 completions on 203 attempts show peak precision, and his 15-3 touchdown-to-interception ratio reflects complete control of Ben Johnson's offense. He's been surgical at home, feeding off rhythm throws and pre-snap reads. With Wentz on injured reserve, Minnesota faces uncertainty under center. And that's dangerous against a pass rush led by Hutchinson. Goff's mastery of tempo could be the deciding difference, while the Vikings must find a way to sustain drives without their veteran leader. Detroit's formula is proven: dominate possession, pressure the pocket, and let their playmakers close. The Lions' offensive line will look to neutralize Minnesota's front, while Gibbs's dual threat speed tests a defense missing key starters. Expect Dan Campbell's crew to push the pace early, forcing the Vikings to play catch-up. Minnesota's best chance lies in explosive plays from Jefferson and red zone execution, but with both starting tackles listed as questionable, even that becomes a tall order. Defensively, Detroit's secondary, though banged up, benefits from the front seven's relentless pressure. The Vikings must protect, or the game could unravel fast, especially if early sacks or turnovers tilt momentum toward Detroit's aggressive pass rush and ball-hawking linebackers. Final prediction: Dodgers 5, Blue Jays 4. The Dodgers capture another crown behind Ohtani's heroics and bullpen brilliance, surviving one of the most evenly matched fall classics in recent memory. Every pitch, Every defensive gem and every managerial decision has carried weight, the kind of tension only October baseball can deliver. Yet even in defeat, Toronto's fight has been unforgettable, pushing one of baseball's most complete teams to the brink. But make no mistake, no matter the outcome, this Game 7 will echo for generations. The Dodgers and Blue Jays have given baseball the series it craved. Heart, heat, and history colliding on the sport's grandest stage, where legends are born and champions are defined by inches. Final score, Lions 31, Vikings 17. Detroit rolls to 6-2, staying hot in the NFC North race, while Minnesota faces another week of tough questions and tougher answers. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Detroit Lions winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Atlanta Falcons versus New England Patriots. The stakes rise in Foxborough as the 3-4 Atlanta Falcons visit the 6-2 New England Patriots in a cross-conference clash that tests resilience against rhythm. The Falcons, sitting third in the NFC South, are desperate to claw back to .500 and keep their postseason pulse alive. The Patriots, perched atop the AFC East with a .750 mark, have their sights set on separation. The forecast calls for crisp air and colder hits at Gillette Stadium. Fitting, because this one's about toughness. And according to pre-game projections, New England enters with roughly a 2/3 chance to protect home turf. But Atlanta's puncher's chance is real, especially when Bijan Robinson's legs get rolling. The Falcons' offense rides behind rookie quarterback Michael Penix Jr., who's thrown for 1,409 yards, with 5 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. He's complemented by Robinson's 549 rushing yards and Drake London's 469 through the air, forming a balanced, if inconsistent, trio. On defense, linebacker Caden Ellis leads Atlanta with 48 tackles, while defensive end Zach Harrison has 3.5 sacks. They'll need every ounce of that production to slow a Patriots team that thrives on precision. New England's offense runs through quarterback Drake May, who's been impressive: 2,026 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 3 picks on 170 completions. Even with running back Ramondre Stevenson sidelined, the Patriots have found ways to move the chains, thanks to May's composure and Stephon Diggs' 470 receiving yards. Defensively, linebacker Harold Landry III has 5.5 sacks, and veteran thumper Robert Spillane has racked up 67 tackles, anchoring one of the AFC's stingiest front sevens. This matchup, make no mistake, pits a young Falcons offense against a disciplined Patriots wall. Momentum favors New England. The Patriots are rolling, 5 straight wins, all by convincing margins. 32-13 over Cleveland, 31-13 against Tennessee, and earlier triumphs over New Orleans, Buffalo, and Carolina. They're not just winning, they're dominating. The Falcons, meanwhile, are sliding. 3 straight losses, including a humbling 34-10 defeat to Miami and a 20-10 stumble against San Francisco, have exposed protection issues and inconsistency in the red zone. Their lone bright spot came weeks ago against Buffalo, a 24-14 win that showed their ceiling when balance meets execution. The question, can they replicate that spark against a defense that hasn't allowed more than 20 points in a month? Quarterback play defines this one. Maye is operating like a veteran, completing nearly 75% of his throws with poise and command. He reads coverage, manipulates safeties, and turns checkdowns into chains. Penix Jr., on the other hand, brings a gunslinger's flair. He's aggressive, mobile, and fearless, but his margin for error is slim against this secondary. If he's pressured early, turnovers could tilt the game fast. But if Atlanta's line holds, and Robinson finds rhythm on the ground, Penix has the arm talent to keep this interesting deep into the fourth quarter. Strategically, it's trench warfare. New England's front, led by Landry and Spillane, is built to suffocate the run and force second and long situations, where their disguised pressures can dictate matchups. That's trouble for Atlanta's patchwork offensive line, which will again be without key starters Tyrone Wheatley Jr. and Storm Norton, leaving protection assignments vulnerable to interior stunts and edge blitzes. Defensively, Atlanta must tighten its tackling lanes and improve second-level pursuit. If Diggs or the tight ends find soft spots over the middle, May will exploit them all afternoon with precision throws that keep chains moving. The X factor? Tempo. The Patriots like to control it. Efficient drives, clean possessions, and field position wins through disciplined execution. Atlanta must counter with pace and unpredictability, keeping New England from dictating rhythm and forcing them into adjustments that test their communication under pressure. This is a game of patience and control. Whoever bends first may not recover. In the end, execution wins, and the Patriots have mastered it. Their defense bends but rarely breaks, and May's consistency under pressure has been the steady hand this franchise needed. Atlanta will battle and find moments, a Robinson burst, a London sideline grab, but sustaining it for 4 quarters against this group feels like too much to ask. Prediction: Patriots 27, Falcons 17. New England's balance and composure extend their winning streak, while Atlanta leaves with lessons and bruises from another hard afternoon in Foxborough. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is New England Patriots winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Denver Broncos versus Houston Texans. The stage is set in Houston, and the storylines are rich. The Denver Broncos arrive at 6-2, holding firm atop the AFC West, while the Houston Texans sit at 3-4, fighting to stay alive in a competitive AFC South. The stakes are simple: Denver's top-tier defense and 5-game win streak versus a Texans team desperate to prove it belongs in the playoff conversation. The matchup sits almost dead even, a virtual coin flip, with Denver holding a razor-thin edge in the projections, 51.1% to 48.5%. On paper, it's a test of control and consistency. In reality, it's a clash of identity and belief. Denver's success begins with balance. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix has looked polished and poised, completing 179 of 285 passes for 1,803 yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. He's getting solid ground support from J.K. Dobbins, who's racked up 634 rushing yards and 4 scores on 120 carries. When the Broncos stretch the field, Courtland Sutton has been their go-to target, posting 536 yards and 3 touchdowns on 37 receptions. On defense, Nick Bonito's 8 sacks lead a relentless front, while Alex Singleton anchors the middle with 70 tackles. This is a team built on rhythm and discipline, stingy defense, smart offense, and just enough explosion to pull away. Houston, meanwhile, is a fascinating mix of grit and transition. Quarterback C.J. Stroud has thrown for 1,623 yards with 11 touchdowns and 5 picks. Solid numbers, though not the fireworks fans saw a year ago. Nick Chubb, still finding his stride after injury recovery, leads the run game with 321 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins continues to be Stroud's safety valve, pulling in 26 catches for 339 yards and 3 scores. Defensively, Will Anderson Jr. has 5 sacks, and cornerback Caleb Lassiter adds stability in the secondary with 45 tackles. But despite flashes of dominance, like a 44-10 rout of Baltimore, Houston has struggled with consistency on both sides of the ball. Momentum tells the story. Denver is red hot, 5 straight wins, all by convincing margins. They've outscored opponents 149-88 during the streak, including statement victories over Dallas, 44-24, the Giants, 33-32, and the Jets, 13-11. This group closes games, adjusts on the fly, and rarely beats itself. Houston, on the other hand, has alternated brilliance and frustration. Blowouts over Tennessee and Baltimore sandwiched between losses to Seattle and Jacksonville. The Texans' recent 26-15 win over San Francisco might have steadied them. But this week's opponent brings a sharper edge. At quarterback, it's a battle of precision versus improvisation. Bo Nix plays with surgical calm, dissecting defenses through timing and structure. His quick decision-making keeps Denver ahead of schedule and minimizes mistakes. C.J. Stroud, by contrast, thrives on creativity, buying time, throwing off platform, and striking downfield when the coverage slips. Both are efficient, both command respect, but Nix's current form and support structure give him the edge. He's thrown fewer interceptions despite higher volume, and his offense complements a defense that never forces him into desperation throws. Tactically, this one will hinge on the trenches. Denver's pass rush is humming, and with Houston's offensive line still banged up, pressure could mount quickly, especially on longer developing routes. The Broncos' linebackers flow to the ball with precision, limiting yards after contact and closing space in the flats before big plays can form. Houston's front seven, meanwhile, must find ways to contain Dobbins without overcommitting, maintaining gap discipline to prevent Denver's play action from opening up the middle. If Will Anderson Jr. can consistently collapse the pocket and Nick Chubb controls early downs, the Texans can keep Stroud in manageable spots, maintaining offensive rhythm and balance. But with tight end Dalton Schultz and key defenders like Dylan Horton and Denico Autry all listed as questionable, the margin for error shrinks considerably. Houston's depth will be tested, and how they rotate fresh bodies late could determine whether they survive Denver's fourth-quarter surge. Expect a physical, strategic contest that rewards patience and execution. Denver's defense travels, and its offense has found a rhythm built on confidence and chemistry. Houston will fight. They always do at home. But Denver's completeness gives them the upper hand when the pressure peaks in the fourth quarter. Prediction: Broncos 27, Texans 20. Denver stays in command of the AFC West behind a composed Bo Nix and a defense that continues to smother. Houston shows flashes, but turnovers and missed red zone chances tell the story. The Broncos' winning streak hits 6, and the AFC takes notice. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Denver Broncos winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Kansas City Chiefs versus Buffalo Bills. The stage is set in Orchard Park for a heavyweight rematch that's been brewing since last January's AFC Championship clash. The 5-3 Chiefs roll into Buffalo at 5-2, with both teams chasing division leaders and postseason position. Kansas City sits third in the AFC West, while Buffalo trails only New England in the East. The stakes? Momentum, pride, and statement power deep into the midseason. And according to pregame analytics, the edge, just barely, leans to Kansas City, holding a 57% win probability. It's Mahomes versus Allen again. It's fire versus fury. And this time, the Bills want revenge on their home field. Kansas City's story begins with efficiency and precision. Patrick Mahomes has once again led the league conversation, throwing for 2,099 yards, 17 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions on 189 completions. His chemistry with Travis Kelce remains lethal. Kelce's 37 receptions for 474 yards and 3 touchdowns keep drives alive and defenses off balance. But the Chiefs' run game has taken a hit. Isaiah Pacheco, sitting at 329 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, is out with a knee injury. That loss shifts pressure onto Mahomes and his offensive line, already banged up with guards Jalen Moore and Trey Smith, both questionable. On the other sideline, Buffalo's balance has been their backbone. Josh Allen has passed for 1,560 yards, with 12 touchdowns and 4 picks, managing games with more composure than flash. But the engine of this Bills offense is James Cook III, who's exploded for 753 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns, a powerful statement in an AFC dominated by air attacks. Khalil Shakir leads the receiving corps with 31 catches, 356 yards, and 3 touchdowns, while the defense leans on Christian Bishop's 34 tackles and Joey Bosa's 3 sacks to steady the front. The matchup dynamic is crystal clear. Kansas City's precision passing meets Buffalo's physical ground control. Recent form paints a telling picture. Kansas City is rolling, winners of 4 straight after an early stumble. They've outscored opponents 126-72 over their last 4, including dominant wins against Las Vegas, 31-0, and Washington, 28-7. The defense, led by George Karlaftis with 4.5 sacks and Shamari Connor's 63 tackles, has tightened dramatically, limiting big plays and forcing turnovers. Buffalo, meanwhile, has rebounded after midseason turbulence. They've won 3 of their last 4, highlighted by a 40-9 demolition of Carolina. Still, narrow defeats to Atlanta, 24-14, and New England, 23-20, exposed inconsistency in red zone execution. Heading into this matchup, the Bills are dangerous, but unpredictable. Quarterback duels don't get sharper than this. Mahomes remains the standard, commanding reads, off-script brilliance, and deadly efficiency. His completion rate near 67% reflects rhythm and control, especially on third down. Allen brings power and improvisation, less polish, more punch. His 12-4 touchdown ratio mirrors Mahomes' discipline, but his yardage gap underscores Buffalo's more balanced attack. Mahomes thrives under the lights and on the road. Allen's challenge is to turn energy into execution. If either quarterback blinks first, the other will make it hurt. The chessboard is layered. Kansas City's weakened offensive line faces a Bills front that's missing key depth. Daquan Jones, calf, and Shaq Thompson, hamstring, are out, softening the trenches. Buffalo's secondary, with Taron Johnson questionable and Taylor Rapp sidelined, could leave open seams for Kelsey and the Chiefs' speed options. But weather could play a role. Orchard Park in early November means cold air and swirling wind, conditions that favor the more ground-oriented team. That's where James Cook's downhill attack could grind clock and keep Mahomes watching from the sideline. For Kansas City, tempo and protection will decide everything. So what tilts the balance? Discipline. The Chiefs have been sharper situationally, cleaner on third down, and stingier in scoring defense, allowing only 131 points all season compared to Buffalo's 146. Even without Pacheco, Kansas City's creativity and mid-game adjustments give them the edge in adaptability. Buffalo will land blows early, but Mahomes and Kelsey will find rhythm late. Expect a tight bruising contest, momentum swinging by inches, not miles. In the end, Kansas City's ability to execute under pressure and turn broken plays into big moments should prove decisive, extending their aura of late-game inevitability. Prediction: Chiefs 27, Bills 23. Kansas City's composure and red zone precision carry the night. Buffalo battles with heart, but the Chiefs' championship DNA shows when it matters most. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Kansas City Chiefs winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.